Hi guys, my name is Sam, and today I'm going to do my June wrap-up, and this is my second wrap-up on my channel, and I'm really excited to talk about the books that I read in June. I actually did a lot of reading for me this month. I read 5 novels, a graphic novel, and a novella, which is actually really good for me because I am busy. The first of this month I wasn't busy, but recently, this last few weeks, I had just started my summer job, and my family's come to visit, so I didn't have as much time for reading at the end of the month as I did at the beginning, so I'm really happy with what I got read, and I'm excited to tell you guys what I read. So the first book that I read this month was Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, and I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. I didn't give it 5 stars because I wasn't too keen on the ending. I felt like I just wanted more justice or something, but I really enjoyed the vast majority of this book. This book follows a couple named Nick and Amy Dunn, and out of nowhere, Amy goes missing, and Nick is suspected for her disappearance. And it is a crazy psychological thriller that takes 100 twists and turns, and I loved every twist and turn. And even if you do guess 1 or 2, there's going to be 2 or 3 more twists and turns that you didn't guess beforehand. So there's always going to be a surprise for you. No matter if you're spoiled for one little thing or another, it's definitely worth the read. And I also watched the movie for this, and it is a really good adaptation, and it also takes the same twists and turns, and I really enjoyed both of them. So 4.5 out of 5 stars for Gone Girl. Alright, so the next book I read this month was A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and I gave this book about a 3.5 or 4 stars out of 5. I did enjoy it. It's about this girl named Farah, and she lives in the cabin in the woods, and she needs to hunt to help support her family because they're very poor. And in this world, the human world and the fairy world are separate. And one day, she accidentally kills a wolf in the woods, and this wolf actually ends up being a fairy. So she has to go to the fairy world for her punishment, and she has to live with this fairy named Tamlin. And that's all I'm going to tell you about the story. It is kind of new adulty, young adult, and it is really good. I did have some things that I didn't really enjoy about it. I found it very slow. It took me a really long time to get through the first 100 pages or so, and I felt like I was pushing myself to read it at times. I did enjoy the ending and the ending scenes, but it was really difficult for me to get through the start, and I found it quite slow, so that was tough. But the rest of it was really good. I'm still unsure of Farah and Tamlin's relationship. He's like, since this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, he's the Beast and she's the Beauty, I guess. The biggest thing about it is it seems like it goes very quickly, but really when you read this story, it's like they're jumping timelines, so you're jumping like a couple months in advance, and you're like, wait, what? So it's like you're skipping a key point when she changes her mind about him, and it was kind of hard to follow a little bit. The relationship was kind of hard to follow. Kind of felt like it went from hate to love like in no time, but it was because the book timeline jumped, and that was hard for me. Possibility in the second book, I'm unsure about how that's gonna go. I know a few people have said what it is. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. I think it's a little bit of a spoiler, but I did enjoy it, and I'm going to pick up the next one, and hopefully it gets a bit better, because sometimes the first books are hard to get through, right? So that one's pretty good. 3.5, 4 out of 5 stars, something like that. Alright, so the third book I read this month was From a Distant Star by Karen McQuestion, and I got this book off NetGalley, and it is about this girl whose boyfriend is dying of cancer, and then all of a sudden, out of mysterious circumstances, he gets better. And then there's this idea that maybe it was because of an alien or something like that. And it's kind of a sci-fi romance friendship novel. I gave this one 3 to 5 stars. I did find it interesting. I liked the premise of the sci-fi aspect and the alien aspect. That was really interesting because I love aliens, and I love the paranormal and kind of in like ghosts and aliens and all that stuff. I'm really into it. So I like that. I like that it was about friendship a lot more than it was about romance. It's not like a human alien romance. It's definitely a friendship, with the romance between the girl and her boyfriend is like a backstory to the friendship between the girl and then the alien in her boyfriend's body. In my review of my blog, I kind of referred to it as E.T., except if E.T. invaded your boyfriend's body. So I'll link my blog below, so if you can look at that, I have my more thoughts on this book down in there. I did find it really interesting. It was fun. It was easy to read. You could fly through it really fast. It wasn't anything special, so I gave it 3 to 5 stars. The next book I read I picked up recently, and it is Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews. And I picked this up this month, actually, because I was really interested to read it before the movie came out, or before I went to see the movie. And it follows this guy named Greg. Greg? Yeah. It follows this guy named Greg, and he is this guy who's just trying to blend in during high school, and he doesn't really want to make any friends, and he's acquaintances with everybody. And then one day his mom forces him to be friends with this girl who's dying of cancer, and then his life gets all miscombobulated, I guess. I gave this book 4 to 5 stars, 3.5 out of 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was fun to read. I like the character of Greg. He seems like a regular dude. Like, he's not perfect. Like, he says things he shouldn't say, and he does stupid shit, but he's real. I feel like he's more real than some of the other characters I read. And I did like the way the story was told. I wasn't completely sold on it. I did enjoy the humor, but I just feel like I wasn't connected with most of the characters. I really didn't care about some of them, and I was just like, okay, no, this is fun. This is a nice light read, but I feel like I wasn't invested in anybody, and I wasn't really invested in the story or really happened to the characters at the end. Like, it's a cancer book, so you feel like you should be sad, and I just didn't feel anything at that point. So I was like, oh, okay. So that's why I gave this one, I think I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was good, I enjoyed it, and I'm definitely going to watch the movie. So the next book I picked up off Neck Alley, and is The Ugly Stepsister by Aya Ling. I think that's how you say her name. Story about this girl named Kat, and she loves to read, and she has all kinds of books in her house, she has all kinds of books in her house, in the attic, and stuff that she has to clean up. So when she goes upstairs to clean out the books, she accidentally picks up this really, really gorgeous copy of, she picks up this really old copy of Cinderella, and then she accidentally rips it. So when she rips it, she gets taken into the Cinderella story to kind of reenact it so that she can go home. But instead, she's not Cinderella. She's one of the Ugly Stepsisters. And I loved this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I was super surprised about it, because I didn't expect to enjoy it that much. I expected it to be, like, fun, fluffy, and that's what it is, but I really enjoyed it. I expected it to be fun and fluffy, which it was, and then I got more out of it than I thought I was going to. There's parts of it that aren't perfect, but I gave it a 5 out of 5 just because I enjoyed it. It's not one of my favorites. What did I give it? Did I give it a 4 out of 5? Or no, I gave it a 5 out of 5 on Goodreads, so about 4 out of 5 stars. No, there's little bits of it that really aren't perfect, but I really did enjoy the book as a whole, so I'm kind of ignoring that. If I really enjoyed a book and there's parts that aren't perfect, I'm still going to rate it high, because I usually rating on my enjoyment level more than on the other thing. So it's like, what I'm rating is like, oh, I enjoyed this book this much. I liked it, I didn't like it, I blah 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 blah, whatever. We'll get into my rating system another day. But gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was awesome. Look, I think if you like Jane Austen, you'll really enjoy it, because there's lots of Jane Austen references in it, and it kind of takes place in the same kind of era that Jane Austen would, so you kind of have your noble families, and the way you have to act a certain way for your family to have a good reputation, and this depends on who you're going to marry, and you have to act a certain way if you're a lady in society, which I really enjoy. And then there's the royalty, of course. There has to be a prince, Prince Charming, except that's not his name in the book, but, you know, he's your Prince Charming, and you have Kat, who's the ugly stepsister trying to get Cinderella, who's a servant, who lives in a bad area of town with Prince Charming, and it might be more difficult than she anticipates, and it's really, really interesting. If you really enjoyed Jane Austen, and if you've seen the movie Ever After, I think you'll really enjoy this story. It's super interesting, and it's a really good fairy tale retelling, and I haven't read a whole lot of them, but there's a lot of good reviews on Goodreads, and I have a full review of this on my blog as well, which I will link down below. The next book I read this month was a graphic novel / comic. I don't know how to put these, but whatever. Well, we understand what I'm talking about. It is Captain Marvel Volume 1. I really enjoyed this story. I like reading the Marvel comics, and I really enjoyed the female aspect and the female hero about it. It's a little confusing because I'm still new to the comic world, and I'm not entirely familiar with her character, but I thought it was a good intro to this series that they're putting out. It is done by Marvel now, so it is a fairly new comic series. So I picked it up at the library and I read through it. I really enjoy superheroes and I really enjoy Marvel especially. The art style in this was really pretty and classic Marvel, and there was an appearance by the Guardians of the Galaxy, which I really enjoy as well, and I like them, and I also want to read more of their stories, which I should pick up at the library too. Picked this one at the library, I'm taking it back tomorrow. I enjoyed it, I gave it 3 to 5 stars. Fun, interesting, comic, girl power, that kind of good stuff. The last novella I read this month was Destroy Me by Tahira Mafi, one of the Shatter Me novellas, and I wasn't going to read this, but I found it on my Overdrive account from my library, so I'm like, alright, maybe I will. It's not that much, and I picked it up, because people say that it's important to read for the series. This novella is takes place during Shatter Me, and it's kind of Warner's perspective after some of the events that happen in Shatter Me. I don't know what I give this, like a 2.5, 3 to 5 stars. I'm still not a fan of Warner. Like, no matter, I still have only read to the end of Unravel Me, and I said I was going to read Ignite Me this month, but clearly I didn't get to it. But, whatever. So, I'm not a big fan of Warner. He's really obsessive over Juliet, and it's very strange, and I don't know where it comes from, and it weirds me out, and I don't feel like she should be with either of these people. Like, I feel like none of these are healthy relationships. Like, these boys are crazy. These boys are crazy. So I have the other novella by Adam on my Overdrive right now, and I'll probably get to that one too, and then I'll read Ignite Me. Maybe this month or next month or some point in the future here. I own it, so I'll get to it soon. Warner's weird. I'm not a big fan. I don't know. I don't know what to think. And I feel like a lot of people's opinions changed on these characters during Ignite Me, the final book. So I'll read that one, and then I'll make a final decision on the series at the end. So that's it for my wrap-up, and I'm currently reading 2 books right now that I'm in the middle of, and it's a pain. I feel like at the end of this month, I kind of got a little slumpy. I started reading The Serpent of Venice by Christopher Moore, and he's one of my favorite authors, but I have a really hard time getting into this book. I don't know why, but I was just lost. I was completely lost, and I wasn't getting the humor, and I don't know. So I kind of gave up at 80 pages, and I got the audiobook. So I'm going to read along with the audiobook, which is going to help me because the voice acting in Christopher Moore's audiobooks is really good, and it helps me with the humor and the sarcasm and all that stuff, and I pick it up better when I was listening to it. These ones I find are hard for me to read because I don't know the source material as well. I don't know the plays that it's satiring, so it's satire of this Merchant of Venice and Othello, and I don't really know much about either of these plays, so I find it hard to follow right now. It is really interesting, and I'm excited to finish it, but I'm going to finish it on audiobook because it's easier for me to do that way, and I find it more enjoyable that way. And I'm also in the middle of Trial by Fire by Josephine Angelini. I'm about 200 pages in, and I don't know what to think of this book yet. I don't understand why any of this is happening. Like, I don't understand. This is a book, it follows the girl named Lily, and she lives in Salem, and she has really bad allergies, and then she's taken to an alternate Salem where her allergies are her biggest strength. So in this world, there's a lot of magic, and I don't know why Lily ends up in this alternate Salem. I still don't understand that, and I'm waiting for it to tell me, to reveal why she's there, and it better, or else I don't know how I feel about this book yet. So far, it's okay. I'm enjoying it, and I'll tell you more about it in my July wrap-up, I guess. So I'm going to finish this soon and head it back to the library. And I'm really excited because tomorrow I'm going to pick up my copy of The Wrath of Dawn, which is at my library, and I have it on hold, so I'm going to go pick that up, and I'm going to also read that in July. So, yay, I'm excited for my reading in July. I'm working a lot in July, so maybe I won't get as much reading done, but we'll see. So, thanks guys for watching my video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Comment down below if you've read some of these books and what you thought of them. I'm really interested to see what you guys thought, and thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye!